Hey guys, welcome back to the Ride Right Waxing in UK One Wheel channel. So, still ski season, still ripping through boards. I have got a plethora of them to get through, so we've got plenty of videos coming your way. We're going to start off with this. This is one of three. A guy called Ben has hooked me up from Newton Abbot, and yeah, we're going to start with his board, and then we're going to get on to his other two that he's also asked me to service. Now, this is an awesome Burton flagship, the Custom. Now, I love these boards. These are just brilliant. Packed with some union bindings. So yeah, we'll just do the normal. We'll have a bit of a detailed run, but just for the point of the video, really, and as I always do, I always take a photograph of the binding setup before taking the bindings off, so they go back in the same place. So for this binding here, the actual angle of this one is set at 15 degrees. So we're going to put a picture of that one here. And this one is set at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 1, 2, 6, 9. So about 9 degrees is this one. We're going to put a picture of that one here. So obviously, if Ben was ever out on the mountain and these became loose, or he needed to swap them onto another board for whatever reason, he can do so, and he can get his feet in the correct stance. So that is something that's super important. We always put that at the beginning of the video, then he doesn't have to scroll through the whole thing. We're going to give this board a full detail. We're going to clean up the top coat. We have some delamination on the nose just here, so we're going to try and press that in and get some epoxy in that as well as, but we'll have a detailed look obviously at what this board looks like. So I'm going to pop in my hand and let's have a quick look at this Burton. Here we go. One Burton Custom. Lovely board. It's a little bit dusty. We're going to get that all cleaned up. Now, I know he did say he had a bit of a bad spill and he was laid up from a snowboard accident, which is not good for about 6 months. And we don't want any of that. We've got a bit of sticky residue here, so we're going to clean all this up. We've got a bit of nose lifting just here. So we're going to lay some fresh epoxy in here, and then we'll clamp this and leave this overnight for that to really set. Let's have a quick look on the nose. Got a little bit of impact damage just there, so we'll put a little bit of epoxy in there, then I can razor blade that off to stop any moisture getting into the board. That's the last thing you want, and that will lift the top coat. We also, with the bindings, if we just quickly fold this up, these are quite cool, the unions. They're not screwed in, they actually just lift up. This is a binding, so when you actually unscrew this, if you be very delicate and unscrew this, you can lift it up. Then you can just mark the board with a permanent marker where the actual channel runners obviously sit, as you'll see later on in the video. And that way then you're guaranteed to get this gap here from the actual base of the actual rail to the binding, always in the right place. We do the same on both bindings. Got a cool stomp pad, which is just there. Yeah, awesome. Absolutely awesome. So let's flip this bad boy over and let's have a quick look at the underside. Now, underside rails definitely need some love. We'll get them looking ship shape. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but we've got some lifting from the base coat, but that's not penetrated through to the top coat anyway. There's no crack there, so that's good. So at least there's no moisture going to be getting in there. But yeah, we've got a bit of a nasty gouge just here. That might be down to the core, so I actually might lay some core material in there, and we've got a lot of exposure there to the back of the rail, which will get that also filled up, that tidied up. Again, get all these rails, and then we'll get this cleaned up. So what we'll do is we're going to pop you back in the stand, and yeah, we'll get back onto this board. But yeah, nice and dry, nothing we can't sort out, just quite a bit of time to get all this laid in. But first off, what I am going to do is going to start on that top coat for tonight. We're going to flip this back over a minute. Oh, there we go. We're going to get that epoxy laid in here and just do some tidying up. Again, just down the rails. I think we had a bit of a gouge just here. We'll lay a bit of fresh epoxy just on that, again, to stop any moisture going into the board. And we've got a little bit there. So take the bindings off, mark them up, clean the top coat, epoxy, then we'll clamp it down, and then what we'll do, get up nice and early, 5:30 tomorrow morning, most probably, and we'll start work on that base. And what we'll have to do is get the solder iron out and melt that core material into the base, filling up that hole. Because if you lay PTEX in and you're down to the core, the PTEX will always come out. So that's something you must do. And I'll show you that a little bit later on in the video. Let's crack on. Pop you in the stand, bit of time lapse, a few tunes. Right, okay, so we've taken those bindings, or started to take the bindings off. Now, where the actual studs themselves come through, we just mark with a permanent marker, just as a reference point. We're going to clean the top coat up anyway, but what I have done, which my camera stopped working on, is I've laid the epoxy down and I've clamped that, but obviously you don't use G-clamps on the board. I've got 2 old number plates which are broken up, or I've cut up. And basically they're the one that's taking the pressure, but pushing a nice flat surface, squeezing the board back together with the epoxy in between. I just put the epoxy in and then I use a hairdryer to warm it up to really liquefy it so it runs really deep into the actual gouge itself. So when obviously pressed, hopefully it will glue. I've had great success with this in the past, so there's no reason why that won't work. But also what I've done is I've gone round and I've just gone through all the bits where the actual top coat of the material on the edge of the board itself has obviously come away just from other boards hitting it in ski lifts. Because you tend to find clatter stuff, and these things are expensive, but they tend to get a good old work over in any ski lift queue. So I've gone around the board, I've touched those up. I will tidy them back, sand them back, use a Stanley knife. I've already dragged the Stanley knife around the edges of where I've laid the epoxy, so not to get it on the rails. But that's the first one off. And what I'm going to do, as I put them in situ, I'm going to quickly just unscrew this one, and then we'll mark this one. So it's ever so easy. Just obviously unscrew one, make sure that comes completely off and the screw is completely free. For the reason being, you'll see in a second, so when you lift it off, you want to lift it off and not cause the actual binding to slide in the rail. It will want to twist, obviously, but we can adjust the twist because we've already taken a photograph of the actual settings of where the board will sit. So that is now loose completely, and then all you've got to do is lift up. And then what we do, we get the permanent marker. To be fair, it's already on a marker. You don't see this, but it just means it gives you a fighting chance to get that stance bang on every single time. So that's marked. I'm going to leave this now and let the epoxy really dry. Then once that's done, I'll take that off. You'll have a quick look at that. Obviously there's going to be a bit of time between obviously myself coming back. And then we're going to polish the top coat, clean all that up and just sand those areas down. Make sure the top coat looks absolutely as best as we can get it. Then we'll flip it over. We're going to work on the base, getting those PTEX and obviously getting the base material into the base of that board so we can get that nice and flat. Work on the edges, then a nice deep clean on the base, and then we'll go into the full wax. And then this board is going to be ready to fly. So bit of work on this one. Always knew this was going to be obviously the challenge out of the 3. I think, you never know, there's always surprises that pop up. But that's what we do here in the Ride Right Waxing Workshop. I love this kind of stuff. Great. So, thank you, Ben. And I'll see you in the morning, but for you, a couple of seconds. Okay, so Boxing Day. Woohoo! I wasn't allowed out here on Christmas Day, but never mind. I wish I could have, but I couldn't. So anyway, back on the Burton Custom. Awesome. Basically, the epoxy I laid down is all dry. Taken off that nose coat, literally have just taken that off, and that is looking mint. That is looking really, really good. The top coat is now stuck down. I've got a bit of tidying to do on all the epoxy around here just to make sure it's fresh. I'm going to polish up the top coat, and then we're going to get on the base of this board. Now, we have got a core shot just here, or quite a deep core shot just here, and so I might lay down some just clear base material. This is extra stuff that you need to get. If you have a core shot and you lay PTEX, chances are the PTEX will come out, and then you get moisture in between your 2 layers. that is not what you want, because then obviously it will deform the base of the board. So we're going to make sure this is nice and sealed with this, and then we will finish off some PTEX on top just to make sure the base is nice and flat, because we have quite a raised area here. And we'll lay down some fresh PTEX in certain areas. We've got a little bit there as well. So yeah, there's quite a bit of PTEX to go into the base of this, so then we'll get it nice and flat and scraped. We'll put some structure back in the board, and we'll get the edges done. So I'm going to pop you on time lapse. I'm going to burn through, tidy up the top coat. We're going to get on the base coat. We're going to do the edges, and this thing is going to look mint. I can't wait for the before and after. But more importantly, let's get this top coat looking shiny. Right, so we've got some nice shine on that top coat, as you can see. You can see the light there. Stuck the older Ride Right waxing sticker on. But there is that top bit, all repaired. Nice and flat, nice and curved. And we've basically have done all the epoxy around here. There's a nice nasty nick just there. And we've got the shine back in. You're always going to get these wear marks where the bindings are. We've laid some epoxy just in here. And obviously in here. And here as well. Stop any moisture, and we've put some there. Getting in to the underside of that board, but yeah, massive difference. This was obviously lipping up. That is completely and utterly sealed tight now. The marvels of G-clamps. Really, really pleased with that. Really pleased. That's fixed really, really well. So we're going to flip this over, and that is what we're going to focus our efforts on. A bit of a core shot. So we need some of that, but more importantly, we need one of those. And clean the tip up, and then we're going to just gouge this out, get all the loose material. That also, unfortunately, that's taken the colour out. I think somebody has laid something in that. I will just try and, I will not acid strip it, citrus clean this part of the board anyway first. So I'm going to clean the board, get all the residue of wax off. We're going to clean this out. We're going to lay some of this clear stuff in. And then we're just going to finish off with some PTEX, because we've got some holes here which we'll tidy up, and then we're going to put some structure back in the board and get these rails looking nice and sharp, because they are, or have seen better days. But we'll get it looking ship shape. That's the main aim of the game. We'll get some PTEX in there and here and here. So yeah, and obviously down through here. And we'll tidy out that one as well. So let's crack on, put some tunes on, get into time lapse, and let's clean the base of this board before doing the edges. And that way then it's only a nice another clean once finished. It's going to be a structured brush, so a copper brush to put some structure back in the board. We've got to keep it nice and smooth, not furry. We don't want it furry. Then we're going to lay down some wax and get that stripped off. Let's go. One Burton Custom, ready to have it stripped and polished. This board has had a lot of work. We have done the epoxy on the top coat. We've just gone and detailed around the side. We've marked on here where the channel system, where the actual bindings sit, because obviously you've got micro adjustment on the channel system on the Burton, opposed to your standard screw-in section on most snowboards. We have PTEX this board to death. We have stripped and cleaned this board. We have edged. We have done everything we physically can to this board to get it looking absolutely tip-top. We have filled in that core shot both there and there. Obviously they're clear, but like I say, you can see them, but they ain't going to cause any problems whatsoever. They are super smooth, and yeah, this board is going to come up lovely. I'm really, really excited about this. So we're going to get this wax stripped off. We're going to sharpen up my scraper. Got my Toco scraper sharpener, which is just here. We've got a board scraper, which is there, and we've got a little one, which is in my pocket somewhere. And we're going to get these sharpened up and looking fresh. And then we'll get it polished with the horsehair brush and the wire brush, and sorry, not the wire brush, the nylon brush, and Zardoff and Teflon, and yeah, this thing's going to be ready to fly. So guys, stay with us. Let's put some tunes on. Let's get this wax off. So, one Burton Custom. A lot of love has gone into this board, a lot of love and a lot of work. This board is super smooth. We have filled those areas up as best as possible without giving this board a complete machine base scrape. The only thing I wish I had done possibly is filled these up. Instead of, obviously, I used a clear base material that we welded that into it, and then we laid white clear PTEX. But obviously what it does do, it picks up the colour underneath this blue, the white colour of the base, the core should we say, which obviously stands out a little bit. If I had used black it would have hid all that, but then obviously you would have had a big black line. But I think you'll agree it's come up super shiny, massively shiny, massively smooth, massively sharp. It's come up lovely. I'm really pleased with this. Considering obviously what it was like when I got it, we had a fair bit of work to do, and again that top coat, other than a quick polish over, it's just a bit dusty from where the actual wax and the machine. We've fully machine brushed this, so all the structure of the actual board which we've laid in, and you can see all the lines running down through the board. There is a lot of lines going everywhere else, obviously because it gets used, which is great, but the nice thing is it won't affect the performance of this board. It is so smooth and so polished. I am really happy with this. This is Ben's board, and we're going to get on and do the Roxy board, as well as the other one as well. And there'll be 3 videos coming to you guys soon. And yeah, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you very much indeed, though, for watching if you've got this far. The before and after is testament to the amount of work and hours that have gone into this board. And I'm really pleased. And it is an awesome board. Burton Custom, fantastic board. Nice and light. If you haven't ridden one, go and ride one. But there we go, guys. Another board done in the Ride Waxing Workshop. So, until next time, we will see you soon.